Hi, Leanne. Thank you so much for accepting to join me in this interview.
Good to be with you.
Mhm. Thank you, Leanne. So, Leanne, we would love to hear a little bit about you in terms of your background as a coach and how did you got into coaching in the first place?
Mm, yeah, so I got into coaching because I was coached. And I was coached, and also at the time, I was a leader inside an organization, and my supervisor was coached as well. And I found it was the most effective thing I'd ever seen for long term change.
Mhm.
So that got me really excited about coaching. I started talking to different coaches. This was back in 2003, 2004. So at the time, there were maybe 10 accredited coach training programs with the International Coach Federation. And I started looking at the different programs and found one I loved, Success Unlimited Network, and trained with them.
Mhm. Lovely. Thank you so much. And what drives you as a coach, and how does that influence your work as a supervisor?
Mm. Yeah, the, I think the biggest thing that drives me as a coach is holding space for whatever wants to emerge. That I think is the most powerful thing we can do as coaches. And for me, the only way I'm able to do that is when I have my own sense of centeredness. It's not that everything's perfect or anything, and that I can be fully present with the client. So I think that informs my supervision is supporting other coaches in whatever way, normative, formative, restorative, so that when they're in the space with the client, they can be fully present.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that. It feels quite profound in terms of, what drives you and what brought you to supervision in terms, was there anything that triggered this desire to go beyond coaching?
Yes. So I've been coaching a few decades now, and I've done lots and lots of training. I've had mentors. I've been a trainer. I've been a mentor, and I just felt like something was missing, and I didn't know what it was. I'm based in the United States, but I belong to a coaching community that's international. And my European colleagues had talked a little bit about this thing called supervision, which I didn't know much about, but I listened to them. Then I participated in ICF's supervision community of practice once, and I got curious about it. So I went out and found myself a supervisor. I have such an incredibly positive experience in the supervision space. I'm really grateful for being able to take my whole self to supervision as a coach.
Mm. Did your view about supervision change once you qualified to the way you viewed it before? Or
I
maybe before engaging in supervision, if there were any stages, in terms of what supervision meant to you and how your view of it and feel of it changed throughout the years.
Yeah, because I didn't know much about supervision, I don't know that I had a lot of thoughts, if I had any thoughts. Um, yeah, I don't I'm not sure I had this thought so much as that I've heard people say, right, that somebody's looking at what you're doing and judging it, and that is not at all my experience of supervision, my experience from the training, or my intention in supervision. My experience of it and the training and the way I like to supervise is that we come to supervision, the coach who's coming and whoever's in the supervisor role, as co-equals. And we talk about in the training that it's an asymmetrical relationship, power relationship, but that it's an asymmetrical relationship of co-equals. So yes, we're having a discussion around whatever the coach decides to bring, but that's actually the thing I love about supervision, is that when we're two coaches or even in group coaching coming together, we've all had experiences of coaching. And so whatever someone brings, either we've had something similar and I get curious about, like, ooh, that's interesting, like what did they do? or oh, I haven't had that experience. Now I'm hearing it, it'll probably show up, right? Isn't that the way the universe works? So let me hone in and figure out or listen to what's going on. So yeah, I love that experience of being co-equal in the space.
Mhm. And linking to this, what you love about the supervision, what else do you love about it?
I think one of the other things that I think is very interesting is, and we talk about this at the beginning of the training, is the 7I model, right? So thinking about what the relationship is, of course, but also what the processes are for the client, for the coach. And then I really like thinking about the systemic. I find more and more that that's the kind of coaching engagement in which I want to be involved, because I've done a lot of one-to-one coaching and I love doing one-to-one coaching, and it changes for that person. The question is, does the system change? Does the organization change? So thinking about that systemic piece is really interesting.
Mhm. If you go back to when you started the training and when you were training as a supervisor, were there any defining moments that maybe either surprised you or you didn't expect to experience certain things or learn, or they were challenging?
So the big thing for me is that I'm an introvert, so I'm not necessarily looking to do, and I have done some group coaching, which is frankly a lot of work. Because it's different from team coaching. I really enjoy doing team coaching and individual coaching. Group coaching is another ball game. And so I wasn't quite sure what group supervision would be like. But because it's a group of coaches, particularly in the training, that the coaches who come to training with ICCS are experienced coaches. They have a lot of knowledge, a lot of skill. That the group coaching is really interesting. It's really interesting to hear what different people's perspectives are. It's interesting to see how whoever is facilitating the group is doing it or supervising the group. Um, it, I, that was unexpected.
Mhm. And how did the training help you to overcome this maybe challenge, if we can call it, or to manage this, the group work?
Yeah, I think that part of it is how in coaching we say, give them the opportunity to do it now. Well, there's a lot of opportunity in the training to do it now. There's always the experience of it, perhaps in the large group, and then sending off into the breakouts to do it in smaller groups. It's something that my cohort has continued even after the training. We completed the training. We still get together to do group supervision and one-on-one supervision with each other. So just the opportunity to experience it in a safe place, because all the facilitators and the trainers are really clear about that and really good at holding that space, was helpful.
Mm. Thank you. In terms of the clients that you work with, what kind of challenges did they tend to bring to your sessions?
It's a mix, honestly. And most of the people, the coaches that I've supervised are experienced coaches. I don't think I've had anybody who's been less than maybe 5 years, something like that. So, not I think not as much about the normative, although sometimes topics like that come up, but more about the formative. Okay, I'm on this journey as a coach. Who do I want to be? Am I headed in the direction that I want? Restorative. Uh, we all know, right? There are a lot of things happening in the world these days. So, having somewhere to come and to be able to talk to someone about what one's own reactions are to what's happening in the world and um, how to manage that in a coaching space.
And in terms of the course, how would you say that it equipped you to hold these spaces?
Yeah, I think I like coaching, right? Someone can call themselves a coaching supervisor without any training. Just as someone can call themselves a coach without any training. So while I think that being an experienced coach helps one, it's not the whole thing. There is a whole set of skills that go with supervision that just being an experienced coach don't it that doesn't cover it. So having the training and understanding what that supervision is, really what those skills are, has been really helpful.
Mhm. And in terms of the future, what does the future hold for for Leanne as a supervisor?
I'm I love doing the supervision with individual coaches. Um, Maybe the future holds running my own group supervision. We'll see. And the other thing that's top of mind for me, again, because leaders are operating within a relatively chaotic, right? Banny, brittle, anxious, nonlinear, all those things, right? Environment is thinking about, is there supervision that would be helpful for leaders as they use coaching skills within their organizations?
Mhm. I heard one conversation, one coach saying that a leader was asking whether they can do something different in their sessions, and they brought in supervision, and it was a very successful um, intervention and approach. Where I get this feeling from different conversations that some leaders, especially if they received coaching for a long time, they are looking for something else, and supervision can be extremely supportive in with their coaching skills, and can be a great way in terms of both offering it, but there is on the receiving end there is an openness
Yes.
from
Yes.
leaders and organizations, which is quite new. Supervision is quite new, depending on the country or continent. In some countries, supervision for coaches is more advanced, in some less, but in leadership, I think it's quite new overall.
Yes. And I think this ties back to the systemic piece that
Mm,
the more leaders are using those coaching skills in their organization, the more positive effect we can have systemically.
mm, definitely, definitely. It's the beauty of supervision is that it's so far-reaching, because you're working with the client, whether leader or coach, with their clients, and you have an impact on the bigger systems or all the systems that these parties are part of,
Yeah,
organization and outside of it, even home, right? Because we can't really separate the person from the professional.
exactly. I always say I offer holistic coaching because we're whole people.
Mm, love it. Lovely. And Leanne, how, if you were to give a piece of advice or just share some thoughts with a coach who's considering coaching supervision, but they are still thinking about it. Is it the right move? Isn't it? Are they ready? Aren't they ready for this move? What are some of the thoughts that you might want to share with them?
I think the biggest thing that I would offer is that do it when you're ready and able to participate fully, because it's in the room. Like I said, you're stepping into the room with a lot of coaches who are phenomenal people and coaches. So if you can be fully present, participate fully, it's it enhances the experience for everyone, for you and for the cohort. So that's what I would say. If you're on the fence, and I mean, you probably know already, right? You probably talk to other coaches who ask you for advice, or, you look at different situations and you think, that's interesting, or you just have a curiosity around it. So if that's where you're at, I'd say it's worth doing, because you're going to have so much more perspective and so much more experience to help you in those cases.
Mm. How would you say, Len, that the training and this experience, the whole journey to becoming a supervisor, impacted you as a person and you as the coach?
Mm. So I always find, right, no matter what, that I become a better coach when I do training, as when it's good training, which this is excellent. So I think that this makes me think about, for myself as a coach, how are these 7 eyes in operation here, right? What interventions do I want to use? So all those kinds of things have affected who I am as a coach. And then as an individual, I don't that's a more difficult question to answer, because it's hard to separate the two, right? It's not yeah. I think it's just opened my eyes to different facets that are helpful. And they right, we talk about in the training parallel process, right? About thinking about how maybe these things are reflected, like you say, in other areas of life.
Mm. The systemic piece seems to be very present for you, and yes, and it's I can hear it in many different parts of the interview. You mentioned it quite a lot, so that seems to be a big um, takeaway or a new approach that you're taking.
Yeah.
Leanne, thank you very much for sharing your journey with us. It's been very insightful, and thank you so much for your
Good to be
time.
with you. Thank you.